Ayo, what is up everyone? It is the Alpha J of the Alpha J Show, and thank you all for 11,000 subscribers before the year ended. I said on my Twitter, follow me at the Alpha J Show, that if I get to 11,000 subscribers before 2016, I would do my 1 million total views special early, with the implication being that I'll have another 1 million total view special plan, which I do, very close, if not already there, to 1 million total views. I decided to take on 2 series that have done surprisingly well on my channel, The Loud House and My Life as a Teenage Robot. And I decided to give you guys what you'd like and do a versus. Now, unlike many YouTubers who ask for likes, I use likes to determine which series to come back to. For example, at the time of recording this, both my SpongeBob video and Teen Titans Go video has the same amount of likes despite one having more than 5,000 views on it. So I know I'm coming back to Teen Titans Go sooner than I would have thought. So if you're one of the viewers that don't really comment, leave a like on any series that you would like. You never know, it could become my next video. So let's talk about Sibling, Tsunami, and One of the Boys. 2 episodes that dive into having new siblings. One is expected and the other unexpected. I'm gonna start off with The Loud House. The episode starts out with Lincoln raiding the fridge as Clyde pretty much watches. It is a very calm and natural way to start off the episode. Lincoln pretty much mentions Lori and Clyde has a flashback. It's kind of interesting how Lincoln handles Clyde's attraction for Lori. On one hand, he's probably gotten used to it, as Clyde does that a lot. On the other hand, there have been times where Clyde has used Lincoln to leverage getting closer to Lori. So Lincoln pretty much double dips his spit-covered finger in the peanut butter jar before getting yelled at for doing so. Then he bursts in front of Luann, who came to tell a joke and gets scolded. It's very important that he does these things and not have these things done to him, because this episode is all about empathy. In fact, Clyde, a single child, begins to tell Lincoln about how set he is. Clyde has always loved the Loud family, and I think it serves as a great contrasting perspective that only Clyde, an only child, can offer.
Finally! Forgot my loofah! Dang it! Off to meet Ronnie Ann! Yeah! Shoot! We could go to Dairyland! Okay, how about Gus's Games and Grub? How about...
Alright, the first 2 are completely expected. The first flashback is with any family, really. Doesn't matter if it's sisters or not. The third one must be torture. I like these series of flashbacks because although a lot of it really does suck, it does have a degree of legitimacy. A lot of these situations are just a lack of balance. There is a part of me that thinks that Clyde wouldn't mind some of these situations though. So that was the beginning, so let's switch over to My Life as a Teenage Robot. So the episode starts off with Brad and Tuck packing for an annual brother-sister picnic in the afternoon. Compare this beginning to a sister episode, an episode that I reviewed earlier. One required too much to believe, and this sounds like another day in town. Brad doesn't really care too much, and think this is just another day. More specifically, a day he would much rather get over with.
I'd rather have my teeth drilled than slog through another big bro, little bro event.
You can't mean that. You should be grateful to have a brother. You'll never know how lonely it is being an only.
This sounds a lot like the conversation that Lincoln and Clyde had. In both cases, Jenny and Clyde have been around Tuck and the sisters respectively for enough time to like and appreciate them. It's just that they aren't around day to day like Brad and Lincoln. Then when Jenny gets home, they really go out of their way to emphasize that Jenny is lonely. The reason I believe it here is because when you are alone, it does feel this lonely to some people. The facial expressions really work here. It really does feel like they put a lot of effort into that aspect of the cartoon. And this is coming from the guy who found out after years that there was a smoke detector in his room. Then Jenny opens the door and smiles. I wonder what's behind that door. So now that that beginning's over, let's go back over to the Loud House. So Lincoln goes to sleep and Lisa pretty much takes her pretty little time to sit down and stare at Lincoln on the off chance that he would open his eyes and notice her.
This wristwatch can transport you to an alternate dimension in which you'll have 10 brothers.
Prepared in 1 day. You sure did evolve from your poop studies, haven't you? So Lincoln at first is skeptical until Lisa opens up a portal in her room, Rick and Morty style. Lisa also pulls off the you only have 24 hours or you'll be stuck forever cliche. I wonder how she's smart enough to make the watch, which works perfect on the first time, at least to my knowledge, but not smart enough to make it sustainable. I guess you can make the argument that it's just a prototype, but it is still a cliche nonetheless. Then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles become Lincoln's brothers.
That is literally LOL. Hurry up, Lonnie, time to go.
Ooh, whoa, Loki, who moved the doorway? I'm ready, bruh. Let's rock.
I wouldn't miss it.
Good one, Mrs. Coconuts.
That was not kidding. Let me tell you how awesome this is. This is something that goes hand in hand with why the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was so awesome. This isn't a crossover, yes, but it comes very, very close to one. I would consider it a staff crossover because the voice actors are here, and I like when Nickelodeon do these gestures because it adds cohesion between all of the shows. I know many of you would love to see what cartoons would be like if they were in similar universes, and this is close enough for me to appreciate and praise. As they gather downstairs, minus a Leon, or a male version of Lily, the baby, they tell Lincoln that they're going to Dairyland, their version of that theme park. Your Glove World, your Escalator Land, your Fun Fair. They make it clear that Lincoln is getting his way, but the clever thing is, he's not getting his way because he's a guy, or because they're guys. It's because of the majority vote, which never changes throughout the episode. It's just that the majority agree with him. I do appreciate that they are giving Lincoln his moment and letting him see everything through a positive viewpoint at first.
That was weak.
Ha, that was nothing. Check this.
Oh yeah? Well, nothing beats the real thing.
The Loud House has opted to be very safe in many episodes, whether in small doses or full scenes like this. No plug intended. And while I may not praise it, I know some people get turned off by this. This is something that not every guy does, and it does seem like they're doing this just to distinguish that these are guys. But no, it doesn't have to be this black and white. For example, Lucy loved dark romance, so have her male counterpart like dark horror comics. Have the one who likes makeup like working out. I mean, people do both for appearance reasons. Have the male counterpart of Lori, who obsessed over her boyfriend Bobby, obsessed over his girlfriend. I think people would have appreciated the subtle subversion a lot more than the cheap cop-out of farts, burps, and stale, simple boy behavior.
Sorry, I'm touching the pizza with my booger picking finger.
Are you kidding me? You use your finger for your booger picking? I use my thumb.
We get it, boys are gross, girls are overbearing, and use the bathroom a lot. You're kind of late to this cliche party. I don't like that part, because like I said, it does show the guys as becoming one guy stretched into 10, which I bet a lot of people feared the Loud House would have been, but they do string together some good jokes. Not going to spoil them all, but I do like to give a few freebies.
Pile on, Dad!
Oh, sometimes I wonder what it would be like to have daughters.
Meta humor is the best humor. Lincoln notices that he has 12 hours before he has to go back to his own dimension or else he would be here forever. He decides to not go back. Honestly, this is an interesting gesture that he decides with 12 hours left to not go back, rather than when he has seconds to decide. I think this was an opportunity missed to have some easy tension. But things are going well, so let's switch over to my life as a teenage robot. So we get to the brother-sister annual picnic, and Tuck smacks his racket so hard that it nearly decimates this butterfly, except...
Sporting mishap averted. Please return to your carefree frolic.
We have SJ1, the baby crier oiler, SJ2, the hiccuper, SJ3, the clumsy one with loose parts, SJ4, the neat freak, SJ5, the chatterbox, SJ6, the overly jealous one, SJ7, the overly sad one, and SJ8, the Dominator. I do like the progression in characters, and here's my theory on how they came to be. So you have SJ1, who doesn't walk, talk, or deliver her exhaust, so to speak, properly. Then we get SJ2, who starts the movement on her own process, but doesn't talk, or deliver her exhaust properly. Then you have SJ3, who delivers her exhaust, so to speak, properly, as Wakeman mastered that. But the whole walking on 2 feet doesn't really work out. Then SJ4 comes, and Wakeman decides to abandon the legs for a while, not being able to do them properly. But this robot is more robot than teenage. Mind you, she has a giant antenna, which is not the best. Thus, SJ5 is born, completely abandoning the ground movement as a whole. And in the process of making more teenage human parts, it balanced in the favor of being too human, talking as if they were one, but not really acting too much like a robot. So in order to get the balance, we get one of the closest to SJ9, which is SJ6. However, going from 2 robot and 2 human, we have 2 teenage, involving a lot of jealousy and social behavior. Also, this is one of the few robots without a full functioning face. I believe SJ1, debatably SJ2, 3, and SJ5 don't really have a full human-like face. We near perfection with SJ7 and SJ8. SJ7 has a strong personality, but I believe Wakeman was just in a depression, and after getting so close with SJ6, which caused SJ7 to somewhat absorb this energy from Wakeman. SJ7 doesn't really have feet either. SJ8 is the closest to SJ9, having a lot of the superhero aspect and face down, but she's really clunky and robotically dull. So when you take the design of SJ6, the superhero capabilities of SJ8, and the strong personality of SJ7, and the neatness of SJ4, and I'm sure the others contribute somehow, we get the polished SJ9.
She's the closest to me in age, but she's still my little sister.
It would appear that I am larger than you, therefore I am the bigger sister and you are the little sister, the puny, scrawny, inferior.
Yeah, okay, really. She looks up to me.
Actually, since I am taller than you.
They still make sure to make jokes, and some of these jokes still last. Now mind you, SJ3 is the clumsy one with the loose parts, so that obviously means use her for a 3-legged race. A major con is just like the Loud House, you can see these jokes from a mile away. And just like the Loud House, they don't try anything new and show you everything you'd like to see. And just like the Loud House, I'll give you a reasonable substitution. Why not have SJ7 race? That way, as they're running, SJ7 mopes throughout the entire race and bums Jenny out, causing some of the other contestants to get ahead and win the race. Or maybe SJ6, who races with Jenny but gets jealous that SJ9 is leading the race. Or my personal favorite, SJ8, who crushes the competition, having them win, but ends up literally stomping out all the other competitors. I review these cartoons for a hobby. I'm not going to count this as much, because obviously if I'm watching these cartoons and looking at them deeply, I'm going to be able to see a lot of the jokes come at me. So when I say that something is stale, or if I say that something is safe, mind you, I don't take that into account because I watch a lot of it. And like I said in my SpongeBob Megaverses, just because it's cliche doesn't mean it doesn't work, but just because it works doesn't mean that it isn't cliche. Then they have an obvious rope pulling contest, not even hiding the man versus machine advantage. And then we get this moment with the melancholy SJ7 and Jenny in a square dancing contest. This ends in SJ7 not really ruining things, but SJ2 the hiccuper, SJ1 the baby crier oiler, and SJ3 the clumsy one not helping and ruining everything.
Now, see if you can break the piñata. What's the matter with you?
What's wrong, sis?
What's wrong? I thought it would be great to have sisters, but you guys are terrible.
After a half afternoon, like Lincoln, Jenny begins to abandon everything. So let us go back to the Loud House and see how Lincoln reacts after letting his watch go. Lincoln begins to feel the effects of permanently living with his new brothers when his teddy bear Bun Bun was purposely flushed down the toilet and he receives a goodnight punch from the guy equivalent of Lynn. This is a small symbol of continuity because Lynn has bunked with Lincoln before or after, and I'm glad that they have kept this small trait going. So as he wakes up, he gets punched by his roommates because boys. Then they have this scene here which is very important. So remember when Lincoln despised the line for the bathroom, which now that I think about it, how do they only have 2 bathrooms? I guess for the same reason that Lincoln had to be in the room during the entire bet for the other episode that I reviewed, because plot. Horrible house design or house choice. Mind you, many people, despite the gender, hate unsanitary places. I guess for cartoons you have to amp it up somehow, but that's usually the comedy portion. This is a major part of the story, and honestly, if you focus on the guys being unsuited for Lincoln instead of being gross and unsanitary, this may have worked more, but hey, this is Nickelodeon. Then one of the brothers gave Lincoln a swirly, which everyone gets up and laughs at, causing Lincoln to get a boo-boo that he wants to get kissed. Unlike the sisters, which give him attention towards it, his new brothers laugh and even bite at his boo-boo. This chain of bad events escalates when no one does laundry, as Lincoln was going to talk to Ronnie Ann.
Pile on, Romeo! Guys, Dutch oven loud house style! Say
Uncle!
Hey guys, did you guys know that guys are... One second now, gotta build it up. 1 second. Gross! I thought that these guys were Mr. Clean's offspring the way that they burp and fart and muck up everything. So yes, now Lincoln doesn't like his new brothers after spending 1/2 of a day with them. Am I gonna criticize this point harshly? No, because Lincoln's a kid, so it makes sense for him to go for instant gratification. However, no one said anything about not using the watch more than once. So, loophole. So let's finish off this episode with 2 minutes left and see how it ends. So Lincoln sees that the equivalent of Lana has the watch. They have a relatively nice chase scene with the watch, and I appreciate how Lincoln gets the watch. I won't spoil it, but it is a callback to a previous joke. So Lincoln goes through this portal literally at the last second. Will he make it?
Are you okay? Did you have a nightmare?
You want some water?
You want some water?
Aw, want us to stay until you fall asleep, Linka?
I'm in the wrong dimension!
Good luck. Those are the ones that really ride up on ya.
Sure, Lori. You're just trying to mess with my... Hello! Yep, those are riding.
That probably satisfied someone's fanfiction. I still stand by this. So the episode ends with that being a nightmare, and I guess this is a creative way of comeuppance for not being grateful for what he had. You know, besides the Dutch oven and embarrassment. It ends on his sisters caring for his nightmare and Lincoln breaking the watch. They don't really make it clear that it was all a dream within a dream, or if Lisa really did give him the watch, which I guess is up for interpretation, which is cool for the community, I suppose. I'd like to think that it was a dream within a dream, but I wouldn't disagree with you if you thought that Lisa did it, or even worse, Lincoln is in a dimension where Lisa didn't give him the watch. All of this amounts to a pretty decent ending. I like the episode. So let's finish off my life as a teenage robot.
Brothers and sisters are supposed to embarrass you and drive you crazy. It's like their job.
He's pretty spot on. They're not intentionally embarrassing her, which makes it all the better. We have the Jackhammer brothers bickering while destroying the dam. Later it shows that the way that they were going, they would have drowned or died instantly from the water pressure jutting that damn piece out. That sounded a lot worse than I thought it would. Oh wait. No, it's like All Hail King Julian when the villains are just villains because villain. Jenny does try to save the day single-handedly, but her strength is outmatched by the water pressure of the dam. All hope is lost before...
You're not alone! Your sisters are here to help! XJ1, grease the slice! XJ8, use some muscle! Tidy up, XJ4! XJ3, check for workmanship.
It does seem like the voice actor of SJ6 had to go after one line, because out of all the sisters, she is the only one who does nothing after her introduction. SJ1 burped all over the place but helped save the day. SJ2 hiccuped all over the place but saved the day. SJ3 fell all over the place but helped save the day. SJ4 cleaned all over the place but helped save the day. SJ5 talked to anyone who would listen but helped save the day. SJ7 moped around, but she was involved in a major skit. And SJ8 destroyed a lot but helped save the day. It really looks looks noticeable after her jealous outbursts, and how the model of her looks very similar to Jenny. I will admit, she gets one more line.
You guys saved me! After all the rotten stuff I said.
That's what sisters are for.
Oil is thicker than water, but so much harder to clean out of a carpet. A few harsh words aren't gonna break up the XJs.
So the Jackhammer brothers get a TNT while still being tied up. Remember that. They're more suicidal than SJ7 over there. So the dam blows up, and since they couldn't swim, most likely died in the process. Getting really dark in this episode. So the sisters decide to build a wall, and I guess the design of the wall piece that they're replacing looks nice. And I do like how she at least learns to appreciate them after someone like Brad, who deals with it on a lesser intensity but for much longer, convinces her. Her mother kind of doesn't really budge, but then allows them one last night together. They go through your cliche night sequence, and right before they go to bed, their bed breaks, causing them to hit the floor. In the process, Dr. Wakeman hints at a future XJ10.
And good night, XJ10.
What?
Kidding, just kidding.
And now the theories are floating around in my head. Now that both episodes are pretty much finished, let's talk about who did what better and who did what worse, and really everything in between. If you like a lot of comedy, and by comedy I mean farts, burps, and whatever, then the Loud House episode is more for you. If you want a story that has progression and pacing beyond the cliches that it has, then My Life as a Teenage Robot serves as a better option. The Loud House strengths are that they already have sisters, so this episode was built up better, and the brothers are admittedly more interesting, at least to me. My Life as a Teenage Robot had a better story, and I was more invested in it. However, both episodes do suffer from having a lot of cliches. The general comedy in My Life as a Teenage Robot could have improved considerably, just like how the story in The Loud House could have improved considerably. I think the main takeaway from this versus is that when you start to do something new, stick to your strengths, even when your weaknesses are noticeable, because people may not care too much and enjoy you nonetheless. Especially considering that both of these shows come out with great episodes just like the two here. So whether you have an annoying sibling or not, we can all agree no one is perfect. But if you care and find a balance, everything will work out well. I really hope you like this versus, and again, thank you for 11,000 subscribers. This was a special that I was going to do for 1 million total views, but I'll think of something else to do. I really do like it when you guys like a video because it helps me know which series to come back to, like I said before. And if all else fails, I have a request video. It's in the card. It's in the description. Go there and comment, and most likely when I do our randomizer pick, who knows, it could be you. As always, I hope your time is well spent, and Alpha out.
So, me and my girlfriend were talking over Skype this morning, and one of us brought up the teacher, Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron. You know, as couples always do. And I said, have you seen that Miss Fowl cameo in The Loud House? We started joking and saying that Jimmy Neutron and The Loud House are in the same canon thanks to that cameo. But then things got a lot more interesting. Would you believe me if I told you Jimmy Neutron was in the same canon as the Powerpuff Girls? I know people have got their theories about every Pixar film and every Cartoon Network show being in the same canon or existence, but I think today we're gonna go a step further.